The only thing that remains the same is the fact that everything keeps changing, with the exception of God.
God asks us to not just give part of our lives, but to give our whole selves. We're about the business of building God's kingdom. And we believe that God has great things in store for us here at Mountain View. So therefore, it's not a time for us to be shy or bashful.
The vision for the church is to reach individuals.
There is a principle that when a farmer plants a seed into the ground, they anticipate that will come out of the ground a plant that will reap a whole lot more than just what that one seed represented.
And if we're expecting to grow, then that's what we're going to have to do, is get new people in who can provide new ideas. And there's more things in our community than we even know about, even with the 1,000 people that we have here now.
You know, we live in a city, in a state, where 7 out of 10 people are not connected in a relationship or in a personal walk with God.
And there are so many children and families that do not know the Lord, that this facility, by expanding and offering more, is going to reach those families.
We've been given a mandate to take what God has given to us and share it with our world. And it begins right across the street where I live and where you live.
Obviously, this one church can't reach the entire world, but we certainly can reach our local world. If we don't reach out to our local people, then we are failing in that Great Commission.
He will bring the people to Him if we're obedient and we feel like this is where He's leading. And it's a huge step of faith. And I think when we step out in faith, knowing we're going to fail without God and we need Him there, then He's going to do great things.
The dream is bigger, the calling is much higher, and I just stand humbled and yet passionate, extremely blessed, desiring that God would do in us what would go beyond our wildest dreams and imaginations, and that we would see the fruit that would come through people like you and me, who would say, if they sacrificed yesterday that I might enjoy the blessings of today, then God, I'm willing to sacrifice today to see you do what you want to do in the tomorrow.
This campaign isn't about a bigger church building. It isn't about money. But what it is about are the souls that will be won for eternity by our obedience.
And when our church is growing and reaching people, we must never settle for what God has done yesterday or even be satisfied with the good blessings that God is giving to us today. God help us to always be motivated to reach one more, as long as there is time and one person yet to be reached. If those people matter to God, then they must matter to us. And as long as that mandate is before us, then our work will never be complete.
We've discovered in our process that we need to have a building that, in order to really minister in our community, can be used in multiple ways. We can use these for missionary society meetings, district assemblies, all sorts of Christian worship opportunities. We're also planning our platform area to be designed in such a way that it can be used as a full-up stage, that we can bring Christian concerts and Christian drama teams in. Other unique things about the structure is that rather than being single level like our present structures are, this will be a 2-level building. It can be built at basically about 2/3 the cost by square foot. Exterior will be brick. Another interesting element that's developed through this planning process is, as we've been presenting to our city planners and to the council, we will become a portion of town center. Will be the only area with a church on it that is really considered town center in the city of Tumwater. We want them to be able to say, this is our church in Tumwater.
The principle of sowing in that way brings with it a guarantee from God that we will also reap. I would challenge you, challenge myself, to put the seed in the ground, to be a giver in life. to be willing to sacrifice, especially in a time such as this, as we talk about today's vision and tomorrow's provision.
And change can always be good.
I think that the future for this church is wide open, that we have lots of opportunities in this community just from what we're beginning to see.
I grew up in a church that was against change. They really were. They didn't want to change. They didn't want anything to be different. And in 50 years, that church had not grown.
Well, I think it's really a choice whether you're going to participate or whether you want to stay anonymous.
Number one, I don't think we should ever let the fact that there are challenges with large churches keep us from wanting to grow. Because when you are in a large church, you have so many more opportunities to reach so many different groups of people.
So you're going to find ways to meet the needs of the individual, because you can't forget the individual. And I think our church is in the process of that already with the small groups that we do.
With all that's going on, there isn't anybody who isn't touched. And for a church that can reach people where they're hurting, I think we're poised to do that. But the constant challenge is going to be to help people form friendships that keep them accountable and connected.
I think a growing, vital church can reach people by being a light in the community. If anything, it's just to have them come and check it out, to see what a wonderful place God has created here at Mountain View.
We want to do more outreach. We want to reach out to this community here in Tumwater. And to do that, we need a facility that looks big enough to accommodate this community.
God is real. And if He can work a change in me and in you, then God could work a change in them as well.
It's very exciting. It is. I will admit it is scary. God is always there.
I think we have to step out in faith and be where God wants us to be. And I think it's exciting. We don't want to close the church off and say, I'm sorry, we're full now. We've got too many people.
It's not like there's a shortage of non-Christians. You look at the miracles that God did in our church getting us this far, why would we expect Him to not continue to perform those miracles? Did God change in the middle of that somewhere?
It just really excites me to think that this is something that we can give in the way of a legacy for the generations that come after us. As the legacy that's been left to me that I've enjoyed coming into this church family.
One of the consistent things in my life has been being part of a church that's been there for me when I was growing, when I needed it. And then raising 4 children in a church and having the church be there for them. When I couldn't be what I needed to be, there were people at the church who could be. And now I have a granddaughter here, and I want this church to be what my children had, what I had. This is what it's all about, right there.
Well, I guess I have a vision of worshiping in an area where there are thousands of people around me who are singing praises to God, who are part of this fellowship, whose needs are being met because of the work that's being done.
As you witness in your community, and if you're ministering in your community as you should be, we're told to go out and to win them all, that the church will automatically grow. I think the real message is the good news of salvation. The church grows as a result, and that, of course, is our vision in our
community. It is a true fact that we can never outgive the Lord. No matter how much we give, He always gives back more in return. He blesses us and He enriches us in relationships. He blesses us in ways that go beyond our wildest dreams.
And I am so excited about what is happening in our church, because this is an opportunity for those that will be obedient to God, for them to experience God's love, His grace, His blessings, and His provision to do what He gives and puts on their heart to do. There was one thing I was wanting to share And that was a time when my husband was in Vietnam, and I was a single mom at home with a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old. We had a missionary in our church, and I had just felt led to give all my grocery money. That was all I had to give. And I thought, well, the Lord will help me stretch what I have in my cupboards, and I'll be able to feed them. But I'll never forget opening up a check. And that check was not for $1 more or $1 less, but it was the exact amount that I had given. It's those times that are so exciting, because it's in those times that our faith grows.